What's up, Alex?
What's happening, Dirk?
It is just another freaking Sunday. Got
You
to go to
know,
work tomorrow. What the hell?
Alice is saying she's gonna be right back because she's gonna go get some coffee. Damn,
All right,
now I
we'll just
realize I
wait for
wish I
Alex
had
to
some
come back.
coffee, right?
I
Like I
mean,
should have done that,
let's just pause. We can hold on for Alice to come back before we really get the party started.
right? And don't run. I know there's a lot of paracord around your house.
Yeah, we don't want you to trip or spill your coffee or anything like that because that would be bad.
And we got Knife in the house, Detroit,
Naps on time. Detroit. He needed a little reminder, so I reminded him
Stacy,
earlier.
our moderator, I guess you could say.
I think she's everybody's moderator.
Yep, agreed. We got Byron Kennedy. We got Banter up in here, which we're about to introduce in the house. We got Ground Fog, which I believe is something like a groundhog, except it's a monstrous looking figure on his avatar. So that's cool. And then we got the Floridian. We got EDC for fun. What's up, buddy? Welcome, welcome. And I think we should bring in Dave. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. What's going on?
Evening, everybody.
So I'd like to welcome Dave, actually. I'm going to give him the intro because I've been knowing Dave for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've been following Dave for quite a while. I watch his videos. He's just a really stellar reviewer that adds a little bit of science to like the whole hobby, which I think is fun. It gives you like, but he kind of like will dumb it down so it's in a measurement or something you understand. Dave also does knives. If you guys aren't familiar with Orion knives, check them out. I've got one right here in my stash with some accessories on it. And then he does, Apex Group. He has a lot of projects. So everybody, if you don't know Dave, please go subscribe right now and then jump right back here. And then Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it was just something that into the hobby. So I actually got into the review side just because I started leaving comments for folks like on, I think it was, who was it now? It was one of the channels. No, I forgot the name, but it'll come back to me as later. But it was, I just kept on leaving comments longer than it needed to be. And it was kind of like, well, why don't you go and like start your own channel or like be a guest on my channel and everything else. So that kind of started with that. Started with like the Titac 2, I think was the first one I did for CRKT. And then, just kind of went from there, got involved with some folks, met up with Stasa and Zelric. And that was actually the original starters of the Apex group. So then we were running that. And then they kind of handed the reins over. And then I kind of moved it over to Slack because before it's kind of like I think it was a binder or something that they were using. So we went over to digital side, kind of expanded it a little bit more to different folks. So really the Apex is, the purpose of that is more to get people involved with it. So you couldn't necessarily go to a brand and say, hey, I'd like to check out your knife. And they go, oh, sure, and send it to you. But then we kind of use like a little bit of more of the group. Say, well, it's going to go to these people. You just pay for one shipping to us. We'll send it around, send it back, or we'll give it away. Either way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's kind of where that happened. And 2019 was my own brand. So I started with just a drawing on a priority mailbox. So I did that. And then it was part of a thing of like, well, if you draw it and you win, it was like Instagram thing, and then we'll totally 3D render your knife. So that was a process.
That's
for that.
pretty
was a blade show. So that's where it started, and I didn't win that, of course. But then I was like, oh well, I'll just keep on going because CRKT was also the cause of me really starting the company because they were talking about a new button lock they're going to come out with. I was like, okay, well, if they do something really cool, I don't need to do my own thing. And then they came out with the deadbolt lock, which is still very strong, or deadlock, which one I think is deadbolt. But it came out. It was not what I was looking for. Didn't operate like a button lock. So that's where it's like, okay, well, I'll just do my own then.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But that I remember that mechanism. It was kind of interesting, but didn't they have like a recall on one of the larger models too? I think for the stop pin used to crack on them, and so I think that design was probably released maybe a year earlier than it should have.
No,
in my
yeah,
personal
didn't get
opinion.
tested fully. But with anything, it has like I was learning these talking to folks. I mean, it's about an 18-month dwell period. So once they get their stamp on it to when it actually gets to the consumer's hand, it's usually about 18 months, at least for like CRKT and some of the larger brands. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the Orion knife side and then QSP side, the other representation work for them. Kind of their YouTube channels to start that as well for their channel to kind of get that out there as far as QSP.
That's another good, like, I mean, I hate using the word budget, but I mean, I guess, you know, that's their competition and stronghold. They make great affordable knives, and I have a couple of them myself. And the first knife that ever made me notice QSP was the piglet model that they did with the Rafir Noble scales.
Oh, yeah.
And they did a Vinland pattern. You remember that one? It's
I have it,
moderately small, but
yeah,
Piglet's
that's
actually a cool knife.
Piglet's actually one of the ones that I like the most. I mean, that was an expensive model, the one you're talking about. That was probably about $300. But yeah, I just said Damasteel, not Damascus. So it's Damasteel blade. Had the Rafir Noble handle for it. But I do like actually what Kaiser did with the more blasted version. So most times you see Rafir, it's shiny, but now it's a blasted version handle for what Kaiser's doing with it.
Yep, I've noticed that, and I've seen other people doing some. Oh man, I have a Real Steel. It's one of like their like, if you catch it at the right time on the website, it's like one of their experimental models. You know that they try a new handle or whatever. So it's a Real Steel rock hot, but it's got that aluminum carbon mix thing that's been put out on a few knives.
Yeah, so I think we were actually for the QSP side. I think we were one of the first to do that. At least
I've seen it.
At that SHOT Show, we had all the knife magazines come over, and then they're like, "I haven't seen that before." They took some as samples to do some articles on. So it seems like we're the first one to do it for the QSP side, but I can't say for certain on it. But at least from the feedback we're getting, they haven't seen it before.
Yeah, that was really cool stuff. It's kind of interesting. I mean, is it like literally just carbon fiber with like aluminum veining, or is it
aluminum or copper? So it has both of them. So there's two options for that. So, so each one of them is going to be kind of like a piece of wood because it's going to be different for each. So kind of how Rafir is different. That's going to same thing. Every single knife that you get is going to have a different pattern in it.
Yeah, mine almost had like a coral pattern to it. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very cool. But QSP, I'm definitely that's one of those companies I've always said that even for the price, or that being said or not, those knives are really well made. And I have a little Penguin D2 that I carry all the time. It's almost small enough to go in my coin pocket, so I put it there quite often.
Okay.
And it's such a cool little knife. It's just no fuss, very comfortable, right? But for what you're paying for, you still get like nice chamfered edges on the micarta scales, so where it's still comfortable if you grip it. All the edges on the blade, there's no sharp edges. It's just all really like well made.
Yeah, I still remember. Like, I think the breakout for that was, I think it was Mass Drop at the time.
Yes,
when it was there, that seemed like it was when it kind of pushed into the market to go, oh, because it was, I think at that time it was like $25 or $22 or something.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, I remember that.
That was kind of like the fire that ignite that one up, because right now it's like about $30 up to $300 or $400, because there's one with Damascus full slabs and everything.
Oh, I remember that one. It was like really like kind of a violet purple.
Yeah, so Caviso did that one, so that's Caviso's version.
Yeah, I remember those two. And then they make XLs and different sizes, and the Parrot.
It's not for everybody for it, but I mean, what brands do you guys like? I guess what's your go-to between Dirk? You probably have, I mean, the big blades, but
I get more into the bigger custom stuff. I don't know. I'm not the smartest guy out there, so I've gotten into more customs, and I generally carry a bigger knife that's more custom stuff.
Yeah, so no production then too much.
I don't. I was thinking about that just the other day. What production stuff am I carrying recently? The production Hellraiser, from Red Horse Knife Works. that's really about it. The rest is all just custom stuff that I carry. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, well, the production side, I mean, really, when you add up how much you spend on production knives, you could get that custom knife that you are accustomed to. So, I mean, I have so many knives around. It's just like I gotta like move them along because I just like, oh, I had that. Okay, well, put it back. And...
Yeah, I don't have as many knives as Alex for sure. You know, I think I'm like literally, I haven't counted yet this year, but I have under 100. Last year, I think
that's
I
still
had
impressive.
68-ish or something when I did a whole state of the collection video sometime in 2022. I've added a few this year. I've left a few this year. So I think I'm somewhere in that 65 total count, maybe.
Yeah, and I have no idea. I have probably hundreds of them.
Exactly. And all the other collectors and reviewers I talk to, they've got hundreds.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, Alex has hundreds. I know Professor EDC, who just joined us. What's up, sir? He's got hundreds. So I'm the minority there. But
yeah.
But to be fair, like I've been like buying, like this stack's been starting since 2012, right?
Right.
So it's accumulating. And a lot of people will buy something and keep it around for a year or two and then flip it when they see something else that they want.
Yeah, catch and release.
There's most of my stuff I bought. Like I kept a lot of the really nice ones, like all the old, like kind of more earlier Spyderco stuff and things like that. I just keep them, you know, like, so after a while they accumulate. And I think at some point in time, I'm going to liquidate and then consolidate to probably like more higher end stuff at some point.
Yeah.
But that's as I go through and review these, right? Like I'll pick and choose what's a keeper, and then if I want to move it along. So I've moved some nice pieces along. I think the one that was one of the nicest things I moved along was that 8015 I had in carbon plate. It was like blue carbon plate. It was all pimped out by Demco. Yeah, that was a bummer that I sold that one. But, you know, like I'm okay with that. And you keep moving on and you keep upgrading over time. My main focus where I've really like spent most of my money and time has been watches this year.
Because I have so many hardcore into watches.
Yeah. And that's where it comes into the other topic of like, when are you going to have your own watch, I guess? Like, you guys can kind of collaborate and have your own thing.
That's a good question because I'm also into watches. Alex is into watches. And I did a lot what Alex did too. When I first got into watches, I bought all the Seikos, all the shiny stuff. And then I sold some of those and I bought something more expensive. And I've kind of just worked my way up in the watch world. And so I just have,
because I know it's a trend that like, I know Dirk is like kind of like, I don't want to make my own stuff and I'm not into that type of thing, but it's kind of a nice thing. I mean, especially if it's not on the market. So that was kind of where I went with it, is like, well, it's not available for what I'm looking for. So I'll go and have it produced and do it that way.
And I don't want to poo-poo on people that do, right? So, I mean, you were one of the first. I don't know if you were the first YouTube guy to make your own knife or not, but you were in the early stages. And it seems like today, everybody is.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, well, I don't want to just follow the crowd. And I don't know that I'm smart enough to come up with an idea that isn't out there or whatever. I have a hard enough time, and I'm working with Ed, Kim, or Red Horse Knife Works right now on what materials are we going to do for a custom build.
You're working on a knife with him too right now?
I have trouble. I have trouble picking materials. And do I want, you know, carbon fiber? Do you want titanium? Do you want Damascus? What's the blade? Like I've got some ideas that we've bounced around, but I can't really land on a certain thing. So to design a whole knife, I think my mind would explode.
Well, Alex, you had the Skaha. I mean, that was a nice little addition for that material.
Oh yeah. Yep. I kind of kicked that off, and I have been asking for like 3 years to do a Skaha and fancy carbon with those guys, and it was always like, you know, not really, because we don't want to take a chance getting bad materials, and it's got to be cut to a certain spec. And the last time that I asked them, I'm like, look, I'm going to use really high-end stuff. I guarantee you'll like it. and I will just give me the exact specs that you want, and I can promise you that you will get exactly what you want. If not, I will take full responsibility for the material, and you can just send it to my house, right? So he agreed at that point, you know, and then so I had Fat Carbon do it. And at first I was gonna do that crazy red, white, and blue nebula carbon fiber, but I ended up not, because I was like, maybe that's like gonna be like too bright. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But maybe this knife, I'm just gonna keep it simpler, because maybe it's something I'm gonna carry every day.
Yeah, I had a Scott too. It's just like the only thing that I think needs to change is their clip. Like I just don't like how the way the clip is, the position. Just something about it. It's just, it doesn't seem.
I'm not a wire clip guy, but I have one of the Skahas. Alex and I, you know, we I think you had what, 3 of them built. I have one, you have one, and then, you know, there's another one out there.
My coworker. Yeah.
I'm not a huge wire clip fan, but I do love that knife. It's over on the other
side. So I'm thinking about trying to see if the Rips Garage clip off my Sleesh buoy will fit on the Skaha. I'm going to see if that works.
Yeah, it might be the same type of gapping and everything. I mean, most Spyderco wire clips are pretty good. And yeah, the wire pocket clip I tried from Ace was actually a really nice one. I normally don't have wire pocket clips, but there was one from a Ace knife that I on the Corta that I tried. It was actually really nice.
They work really, really, really well. Like,
they do work
no doubt about that. I just I'm a prima donna.
Wire clips for president.
There you go, Kershaw.
I mean, we're not going to get political here, but I don't know that a wire clip could do any worse. We're just going to go there. We'll just leave it there.
The king of meme comes out. This is great.
You have great memes. Yeah, I must say, like, a lot of this stuff is just amazing. Like, I see it come up on the feed. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. So I do appreciate that a whole lot.
Yeah, it's like the meme of like the guy showing his phone to his girlfriend, and it says like me showing like stupid memes to my girlfriend who doesn't think that it's funny, right?
Wilson. Yeah, because my girlfriend doesn't have the same 12-year-old sense of humor that I do.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, because that really happens to me. I do
that happens to me all the time. When I posted that meme, my girlfriend, like, I think she texted me and goes, "Really?" or something.
It's like, yeah.
And then half of them are Dirks. I'm like, you know, like, look at this one.
Better than
you know.
Oh, Stacy, that brings back some memories.
Oh yeah.
All right. So what were you carrying today, Alex?
I was carrying, so you guys know, or no, some of you may know, I'm doing a 3-part video, small, medium, and large knives.
The medium one was really great. That was kind of more like the small one. I liked that video, but the medium, I kind of really connected more with those knives.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think that's kind of most people's wheelhouse, right? That sort of size. But I decided to do all 3, and at first I was just gonna do the small custom knives. It wasn't intended to be a 3-part series.
Oh, okay.
So, but somebody asked, they were like, "Oh, do more of these, do more of these." So I said, "Okay." So I carried something in one of the larger knives that I'm going to do now. So I carried that Culture-Tech Urs is what they call it, but it's like a compression lock.
Oh yes.
Mirror.
I hear great things about them as far as their quality.
Oh, they're amazing. I mean, you can see the reflection off the edge already. It's all factory, and it literally will slice cheese really, really well. So I like it. And the compression lock is kind of unique because it's a mechanism on the inside that actually the compression lock is on the opposite side. So there's a lot of moving parts that are all milled for it to press. So you press this up and in to have kind of it close, or else it doesn't quite come out all the way. And then the last thing that's kind of cool is the back spacer. It's got an integrated titanium corkscrew. Right, so you got to slice your cheese, and then you got to open your bottle of wine, you know, while I drive my Ford Focus. And yes, I feel fancy. That's what I had today.
I love it. And what about you, Dave?
I didn't really have much on today. In my pocket now, I picked up from the sale over at Kershaw.
Oh,
this is
I
Strata
seen those.
XL.
Yeah, that is
So
pretty
this thing
cool.
is, it's huge, but it actually carries really well in the pocket. I was really surprised by that. It has a D2 blade on it, but this based off of like I think a old fighting knife. It actually, the original ones had like more of a ratchet mechanism where you open it up and you click, and so you have that mechanism. But I forgot what it's called. But this is actually just really impressive as far as how this is done. It was just one that I picked up from that sale because I think it was their last one or their first one since COVID. So they've been on hiatus for over 2 years. So it was nice to get in there and kind of see everything that was going on within the area. Cool. For me, I'm still like 250 is kind of still like I don't know if I want to spend that much money. So that's where it's like it's moving up a little bit more as it goes. But I mean, it started from $40. It was like my top, and now it's like a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
but you see,
I still
that's
remember.
the magic is you can be at any price point, and the world is a huge place at any price point you go. And I mean, people have kind of like sneered at this comment that I make sometimes, but I say, you know, even at $50, you really can't go wrong no matter what you buy. It's just whether it's ugly or not. Like they all will be good knives regardless. Like, yes, you're not going to be doing like crazy edge resistant tests, you know, with certain steels. And, you know, some of them will rust and some of them won't. But overall, the use of a knife, I mean, for $50, you could go pretty far nowadays, right?
Really, what you need and what you want is two different things.
Yes. And that's where like we need to understand the line sometimes, you know, because people sometimes buy like very expensive knives and get the false sense that, you know, that knife is superior and it's going to cut much better. And it's going to stay sharper for about 2 days. So there you go.
Because really, I think a lot of the diminishing returns happens about that 250 to 300, maybe. I mean, it depends on the material, but I think that about that level is kind of where it's like you get little things here and there, but it's not like a night and day difference.
Well, it's a pretty good, that's actually a really good price point to peak at, because that is kind of where you're getting to like full titanium construction knives with frame locks and all the classic stuff you see. And then from there, it just becomes like a watch. Complications for no reason other than we like the way that it ticks or works, right? Like it's not, it's art. It's not functionality or like necessity. So after 250, 300, that is a pretty nice sweet spot to be in, no doubt.
Yeah, and even for watch side, I mean, that's where like I got into this one. Just it's super cheapy for this guy, for the regular Casio.
I know all about those.
Yeah, and then I took out the little bar there. So
those are great.
Yeah, but little 1200, 1200 for this guy. So that's where I'm going to be trying to work on a different project to get into because this is supposed to be inspired by the Seiko G757 5020. So that's where I'm going to try and do like a custom setup for that and kind of get that going. But it's just one of those things to try and get into. It's like every now and then I go down little rabbit holes and then kind of research and like bounce off things and kind of go far away.
I've got that.
You know me, I love that stuff. Yes. Yeah, I actually modified a couple for Dirk.
Yep.
And then I have a couple modified ones myself.
Speaking of, EDC for Fun bought a couple of those when Alex was doing the Ultimate Royale series.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then right after that Ultimate Royale series, I sent mine down to Alex to do some stuff too. So I have the metal one that you just had on, and I had the black with the resin bracelet or resin strap. And Alex modded both of them. And I think the black one is on a Barton strap now, maybe?
Yeah.
I think it is.
It's a Barton strap.
It's different. You know, it's much nicer than the plastic one that it comes on.
Yeah. I find that the world time, I mean, it
I think the straps really cost as much as the watch.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think the watch is like $20 to $25.
Yep.
But just like if you ever work with different places, I mean, like different countries on here, you just click over one click and then like, okay, well, that's what that time it is.
Right.
Time it is there. It's like super simple. I mean, you could get that on a mechanical watch, but you don't get that really very distinct and easy way to do it.
Yeah, it's a very no nonsense, easy world time watch to wear, and it's got a lot of inspiration of some very iconic classic watches, as you mentioned, the Seiko, the Bond Sport 100.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to be coming out with, because that's right up my alley. I will be a customer for something like that for sure.
I mean, that's what I'll see how it works. I mean, it might turn to be nothing, but I'm going to try and see where it goes and what it can do with it. But I'll see how it goes. Probably start with stainless steel.
How's the Orion Knives project been going for you?
On the third one, so the third one should be coming out probably in January. So that's going to be the Cetus. So that's this guy here.
Oh, that is cool.
So I will have the wood for it as well. So this is going to be
nice.
So
I like that.
Yeah, a little bit more downturn blade. So it's not recurved at all. So it is a straight blade down, one curve style. So very easy to sharpen back up. So it's going to be a nice setup for it.
But
so
that's crazy though, because it does give you the optical illusion that it's curved because of weight.
Just how the
spine I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, so it's going to be
how
reversal.
Big is the blade?
There's like 3.75, I think, for the blade length on that. I got like a ruler around here somewhere.
And 14C 28N steel.
Yeah, 14C,
that's some great stuff. That's cutlery steel.
So yeah, about 3.5 for the cutting.
Okay.
So
there, that's in my wheelhouse. That's my sweet spot.
And that's a great, like, again, we go back to what we want versus what we need. That 3 to 3.5 is really what you need.
Right.
It may not be what I want when I was carrying, like, bigger stuff, but I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good feedback on it from folks now when I've been showing it off. So I was able to show it to some designer folks, and they kind of liked it as well. But it's got the reversal pocket on it. So I did throw the name on the back of it. Some people will hate that.
Okay.
Awesome. I like it. I don't care what they think. I like it.
Yeah, and then I do have obviously the jimping and the flipper tab, so kind of a small guy there. I still can use the fuller for it, so you can actually operate it that way. So I think
I want that one with wood handles.
Yeah,
that's the one I want.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty much like that wood handle with this finish.
Yeah.
So this is probably the biggest run that I've done. So there's going to be about I ordered 1,200 units for this guy. So there's going to be quite a bit of them. So the Scorpio is still out. So this guy is still available right now. And then where everything started from, which is the Solaris. So that's that one.
Look, it glows in the dark.
That one doesn't, but it does look like it.
It
but
almost
it's kind
looks
of
like it.
Yeah, but this one is going to be a hydro dipping. So like Nico, you see him at Artisan booth a lot of times. He does hydro dipping. So I had him hydro dip some G10.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's a few different things for that. But yes, just still trying to just make it work. I have the USA made one I'm going to be doing probably next year. That's probably the most stressful part about it, is trying to make that work, because that is going to be the biggest investment and it might not work. So yeah.
Well, they always say in that kind of thing, you only get big rewards with big risk.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be
I think you've done a great job so far to now have your third model about to come out. I think that's great.
Yeah, and a lot of times I'm doing it out of, like, I don't do pre-orders, so that's kind of the difference. Like I make them, like I actually reinvest. So bad side on me, I haven't paid myself, so it's just kind of like, okay, I sell stuff, I reinvest the other thing, they sell that stuff, and I reinvest it back.
Right.
So that's kind of where I do that. Because even I came out with this kit too. It's a USA made maintenance kit. So this is actually going to be all the things that come in it. Not the, what is that? I don't even know what that is. That's like paper or something. But so it has all the lubricant and everything in it. This is made by Chapman Manufacturing. So it's a USA made company. Even the blow molds are USA. The things that are not, I mean, this, and then like the bottles aren't in China. So I came out with this, and then it's still like, this doesn't sell very well. So people still buy Weehaw and everything, and it's just those things that they pick up, and it's just what they know and what they like, and they feel is the best. So it's just hard. It's like, okay, this is USA made product. You guys want USA made stuff? And it's like, no, not really.
Yeah, trust me, it's a lot of, I could have told you that was a lot of like, steam blowing.
Yeah.
And people say that a lot of the times. I mean, it really comes down to like put your money where your mouth is, and it like you said, I think it shows kind of like different, you know. But in all honesty, I mean, made anywhere is fine for me because, you know, if it's a good product, it's a good product. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
as long as there's no misinformation behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not like that was a really bad one.
And I've got, you know, American made, I've got China made, I don't have any Russian made, but I've got, you know, I have stuff from all over also, and I don't really care where it comes from necessarily, as long as it's disclosed where it comes from. I know I'm buying it because it's made in X, and it's a good product, and I like it, and it fits my hand and whatnot. Then I'm going to buy it. And all you people that are like, I only buy American stuff, as you're typing that feverishly on your iPhone that was not made in America, and telling me I'm an idiot.
Stop watching Greg Medford.
Then, you know, just get over yourselves. I really believe that.
And that's the hard part about it. I mean, I think some of it is still marketing side. Like, like I didn't market it well enough that people like really wanted it, and they're like seeking it out. I mean, that's on me as well for like creating the products. So that's where it's where I have concern about even the USA made knife. It's like I have to get that market going as far as, okay, well, get them on board now. And
I'm going to tell you, I think you're just going to have to make sure it's labeled USA made all over the effing place, because that's really how USA made stuff is marketed.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a USA flag on something, you know, like whether it's a tag on a t-shirt or whatever. Like that's how that is marketed, is by like visuals. So obviously, like all of us as knife collectors and stuff like that, we don't like huge like billboarding, but on the box, who cares?
Yeah,
right.
And that's where the right side. It's been nice to be able to kind of build it up and to have 3 models. And like for me, I don't want to have like a lot of models. So like the Solars will probably be around. So it will change. Like a Corolla will change from 1980 to 2022, but it's still the Corolla. So that's where I plan to stay with like the names and everything else. I don't want to pump out different names and everything else. So as long as it's in the same vein, it's not going to turn into like a tiny 5th pocket knife and be the same name. But just as long as it's in that same vein of product.
Right.
And what's that third one called again?
The Cetus.
So not likely. I'm not selling that one.
Cetus. It's supposed to. It's a constellation for a sea monster or a whale, and I'm going with whale. So
yeah,
that is pretty cool.
I like that.
That one will have to go next to my other one.
That one I want to get one of those. I kind of didn't get the other two. No offense. I just didn't get them.
Yeah,
but I mean, that one I really do like. The other ones I liked. I just did videos on them recently, and I liked them. But that one, just from looking at it right now, I'm like, I'm not sure if I want that one or the other one.
Yeah, and that's where it's just going to be with my own things as far as what I design and what I like. It kind of changes over time, and it kind of will progress. Like I'm not stuck in, and that's where I was talking with some folks. Is like their designs are kind of like very similar to each other along the way. And that's what makes it hard when you get kind of locked into like, okay, well, if I buy a knife from this person, it's always going to look like this, and it's always going to look like that. Right. A little change to it. So hopefully you can get things done with it and kind of see what happens. But it'll either remain a hobby, or I can roll into it actually paying the bills and whatnot. But
that would be cool, man.
Yeah, we will see.
But I think when you go into it with that type of a mentality, it's just going to work.
Yeah.
You know, like I do YouTube, and if I make some money, great. But the reality is I have a real job and I don't need YouTube money to pay my bills. If I get extra money, that's great. So that's just kind of been my mentality. But that's, again, why I'm not working with every knife company out there to give me free stuff, to do like all that stuff that I don't like that other YouTube people do. But if you just go into making knives as a hobby, and if it turns into something, great. I don't know. I think you're doing it the right way.
Yeah. Me too. We'll see how it goes. Because eventually I want to do the USA made side. I'm kind of wondering if I should go into the actual manufacturing, which is another big headache. but I want to see if I can get it down into a budget side. So working with like a 3D printing company that does a lot of the ones for phone scope. I don't know if you know what that product is. So it's a little one that you put your camera onto, or your phone onto, like your binocular. So they actually 3D print all those, since a lot of the phone styles change so often.
Okay, yeah.
So they do 3D printing, but it's on mass scale, and it seems like a pretty good quality for it. So if I can get scales printed that way, really then I can get hardware from people, and then the blade's going to be kind of the biggest hurdle to get a blade ground and done that way. But it's a whole different ball game as far as trying to get into manufacturing side on top of it. So we'll see what happens with it.
And I've got a good friend who owns a 3D printing company also. So if you need any questions or help with that, he'd be glad to help out with whatever. He does a bunch of like big bulk stuff for.
Oh, sweet.
He was printing a bunch of stuff for the government during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Like just some big stuff.
Yeah, and the quality and the materials that they're working with is kind of crazy. I mean, they even do like metal printing now, and it's it just like everything that you can machine, like you can't machine that. It's like, okay, well, you just print it.
Yep, just print it instead. And Knife Fest is kind of in the same boat. He's making his knives as a hobby and for fun, and if it turns into something, that's great.
And which one's that?
Knife Fest. He does the it's Tempest knives.
Oh,
right?
yeah. For
KC is
KC, yeah.
And he's happy with the company he's working with, and they're made in China, but they're doing a good job. And I agree. There's a lot of great stuff coming out of China. There's some crap too. Don't get me wrong, but there is good stuff.
You're recommending Princeton Wong?
CPM
that guy is
Princeton Wong. I don't know who that is.
He's a magician, is who that guy is.
Yeah, I've never heard of him. So what does he do? Is he a manufacturing side?
He's a knife maker, but I think he's more of a hobbyist, because I think he's just a straight out machinist for a living. Like he has his own like machine shop, and I've seen him make like parts for like cars. He always pictures like old Skylines, like vintage ones, stuff like that in his garage. And he's known, like Jim Skelton's owned like a couple of them. He has another knife actually that has like a corkscrew in the back that swoops up. It's like more of a Persian style blade that he does.
Oh, okay.
They're very high precision art knives is what I would call them, more or less. But that guy is, his level of using a CNC machine is way up there, like way up there. Whether you like the design or not of the knives, that's something else. But when you look at his knives, you're like, holy smokes.
Yeah, because Michael of American Blade Works, I mean, he was a CNC machinist before, and then he moved into his garage, and he has his own company that way. So it's working well for him, where he can't keep up with the demand, which is always probably a better thing than having more product than you can sell. But
Brian knows the same way.
Yeah.
Here's just a quick Google thing of some of Princeton Wong's knives.
They're called Prince Customs. Yeah, I think he's out of New York, if I remember right, or somewhere up in that sort of. He's on the East Coast somewhere.
Yeah, they're in the art knife category. I kind of, not all.
Yeah, so they're probably like 1,000 plus. Then I would take it.
Like his Bali song is like $700, $800, depending on what it is. You know, like that other one. The one with the corkscrew in the back, I think was like 1,300 to all the way up to like, I think I saw one that was like 3,500. That was full dress, everything. He's kind of like, he's not mass producing knives.
Thanks, Casey.
Just does like a few of them. See you later, Casey. So like, yeah, he's kind of more low number kind of custom knife maker.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but they're really cool. Jim Skelton's done some cool videos on those things. They're kind of interesting.
Thai Addiction says, does he make the diorama?
I think he does, if I remember right or not. But I'm not like super, like I don't collect his knives, but I've considered them. And I've been following him for maybe like 3 or 4 years, I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, he's cool. I've talked to him before. Very very knowledgeable.
Mm.
And a master with like laser etching and stuff like that. He's really good at that too.
That's cool.
I think he knows how to weld titanium, if I remember right too.
So that's the Durama there.
Yep, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
that's
1400 on that guy.
Yeah, well, probably a lot more nowadays. I think that's from a long time ago. And that was one of the first models that he started out with. That was one of the ones that kind of, people talked about.
Yeah, that's kind of art knife-ish to me. I've got stuff that people don't like either, so it's okay.
Oh, he's in Houston, somebody said. That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks for that,
he's
Al.
in Houston.
So he'll probably be at the Texas Blade Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy. There's Rad Knives down there too. That's like my favorite, one of my favorite makers ever.
My buddy just got a Rad Cleaver, just like last week or the week before. In Damasteel blade. I mean, it's wow.
That's my Grail knife, guys. The Rad Cleaver. But I don't know. Maybe I'll have to have a clearance turn this knife box into like one knife. And
I'll hook you up with my buddy. He doesn't keep stuff forever, so
okay.
there's a chance.
Yeah. Well, I gotta know early because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of selling to get that one.
Yeah, so, I have no idea what that cost. I bought my small battle from him. So
yeah.
He's got a crazy cool collection.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, you already know.
EDC for fun says Alex has a Grail.
Yes, I actually have two. I have that,
a Rad Cleaver
and a Stan Wilson non-flipper. Those are my two
I was
Grails.
Looking online last night at some stuff, and what site was it? I don't remember what website it was. There's one for sale.
It was probably like 10 grand, 20 grand.
It was on sale, so it was like a discounted. So it was 95.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, 10 grand. That's kind of what I figured. Yep.
I was kind of tempted.
Yeah, I would love one, but yeah, it's out of my price range. I'm not doing that. I'd be divorced.
I've been there and done that, so I'm okay.
I mean, I guess honestly, she wouldn't care if I took it out of this, but
right, yeah, no, I get it. I couldn't just do that.
Do I want am I ready for my Grail right now when I have plenty of material to do videos and entertain my hobby, right? So that's kind of what it changes
when it changes when you get a Grail. I got my battle a year and a half ago now, maybe 2 years. I don't know. I'd have to look. And you were right there with me, side by side that whole time with that, Alex. So how that all went down and whatnot. And
emotional.
It was, and it's still. It changed my collecting ever since. I haven't bought a ton since. I've bought some, and I've liked some other stuff, but it's just collecting and everything is different after I got that Grail, and I didn't come up with another Grail. I don't have another Grail, if you will. I'm good.
Yeah, that's one thing about you. Even though you have that higher price range, you still enjoy it. You still use it, and a lot of people would just take the knife and go put it away and never touch it and bring it out, and put it back. And
I carry my battle. I carry the smaller one a lot more than the big one, just because it carries better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll carry it all the time. I don't even care. And if it gets scratched, it gets scratched. Whatever. They're tools.
Yeah, and I think that's where some actually don't feel that way anymore. They're like, okay, well, that's art, and that goes away.
Yeah. And I don't judge either way. But same thing with watches. I have some expensive watches, and I just wear it. If it gets scratched up, it gets scratched up. That's just part of the deal.
Yeah, Knife says his Grail right now is current. You see that?
The current Grail, come on now. A Grail is a Grail.
The Rad Cleaver and Stan Wilson Flipper have at least been my Grails for 8
as long as I've known
years.
You.
Yep.
So your idea of your grill is more like the only one. There only can be one grill.
You can
I have two,
but not
two.
every
Okay.
knife
Grill, yeah.
is a grail. I think we just in general throw that term around as a
I want to
community
see those
way
two
more.
staring at me like this, like that, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
you know. So I know people say it's supposed to be one, not for me. I have two. There's two knives because just one is not enough.
I think I kind of like, I don't know if I call it a grail, but there is another battle that another friend of mine has that we've already talked about price once he's done with that.
Just a certain finish or something that's only on like a 101 type of thing.
Yeah, it's a little bigger than my two, so it'll be like small, medium, and large.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll have the trifecta of Frank Fisher battles.
Yeah.
And so I'm just waiting for him to say he's ready to sell it, because we already talked about the price. Like, we already have it all figured out. So that's kind of a grail when he's done with that.
These are two really good grails,
Lee
actually.
Lerman Hydra, okay, and then Natty Arma Sabotage.
So
Okay.
CPM, I want you to go check out the Instagram name. That's Not a Knife. They're all separated with underscores. He has not a Hydra, but I think he has the I forgot what model that is. But he's got a couple Lee Lermans. He's got like 12 or 13 Naughty Aimer, different kinds of knives, a few Sabotages, a few of the opiates, and he's got the actual original #1 prototype Spyderco. What was the one they did like the Sabotage?
The
what do they call that big one?
Let's look at it.
I'm drawing a blank right this second, but I know what you're talking about.
You know, it's based on the Sabotage.
Yeah, I think Al nailed it.
Oh yeah, the Sigma 6. That is the one. That is the one my buddy Russell has. And then so the Sigma 6, opiates, Sabotages. He's even got the prototype of that Spyderco that actually got sent back from Spyderco to produce that knife. He's got like right up your alley. It's a really good Instagram for you.
Here we go with the trifectas. Yeah, I was kind of excited when I got the trifecta of the Fisher family, right? Because you got Todd Sr., I have an Archangel. You got Frank Fisher, I have a Battle. You got TJ Fisher, Todd Jr., and I've got a Cobra, and I had a King Kamehameha. So I was super excited that I have one from all three of them.
There it is.
I'm now talking to
the Subvert
Senior about a smaller Archangel to match my smaller Battle now. That may be a 2023 purchase.
Nice.
Yeah, the Subvert, that's the one.
Yep, that's the one. That was a pretty cool knife. I just wish they put a little more of a premium steel on it. I'm not trying to be a snob, but it's like $400. So like usually you get S90V or something like that.
Is this part of the Taiwan made? Like a lot of the Taiwan made ones. I mean, it's still good, but it's still kind of pricey.
Yeah, it's kind of like pricey for it, but I think it's Taiwan. It is a Taiwan made, so there's that. And but really cool knife. They're supposed to be releasing a mini. I've heard this for about 3 or 4 years now, but I'm still waiting for it.
Yeah, here's Spyderco still can't keep up with demand either, because I was talking with like Knife Joker, and then he's trying to get his exclusives in. And it's just kind of hard to do.
Yeah, they're in demand, that's for sure, and they do their stuff really well. That's no doubt about that.
I mean, I just wonder how they do their quality control. It must be like almost like an actual digital, like how they do manufacturing, where it like takes a picture image. Because for some of their the blemishes and everything else, it's like where's the blemish? Like where's the issue?
Right.
So it's just like how do you see there's a problem with this?
They're pretty good, man. I mean, like a lot of the steel guys, they rave about Spyderco steel being really well like heat treated and stuff like that. So they have a pretty good record.
Yeah, they're their fixed blade program, and you can buy different scales for them. You gotta run those things quite often for different steels.
Yep. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of those things. I have a couple, and they're all like kind of neat ones. Like another Taiwan made one that I have that came in S30 is the the sub hilt, the one that's done by like Valaton and or Valaton, I think is how you say his last name. I can't remember. But it's actually like a dual action one that he modified where it's got a hidden bolster release, which is pretty cool.
That's the one you loaned me, and I never figured out that it was auto.
Oh, yeah, you gave it back, and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. But
I did the whole video,
and he never deployed it. And
Alex is yelling at me while he's watching the video. I'm sure because I could hear him from LA.
Like, there's a big old leaf spring up top.
Push here, a little bit harder, a little more. Push there. It never happened. I didn't even know.
Yeah, those dual actions are pretty cool. I've seen some of those, and it's just a really neat way to hide it.
Exactly, it was totally funny. I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, because it opens like a regular like manual knife. So me being in California, it's like
it works fine.
You give it to someone, like, oh no, it's not auto. Yeah.
I mean, it's technically not legal,
but you have to discover it, you know. And
I didn't discover it. So your average street cop in LA.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not gonna be like, oh, let me see where's the button on this thing.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and even then, like people can't figure it out a lot of the times.
And you're probably the only time you're really going to have a problem, and this is not legal advice, but even if you got pulled over and they found an automatic knife, probably not really going to have a big problem. It's if you were to have used it in a way that you know there was a fight and you used it, and then you're done.
Right.
Then you're done.
Right.
But you know, the most they're probably going to do, if you're not a jerk off during the traffic stop, they may confiscate it and call it good. Like, I mean,
you're like, no, that knife maker is not alive anymore. I need that back.
Yeah,
like, just give me a ticket. I'll keep the knife.
If you're a jerk when you get contacted by the police, well, then you're done too.
I'm not.
I mean, you're not. I'm not.
I'm definitely not. I'm cool with cops. I like cops.
Yeah,
even back in the day when I was a kid and a punk and a wannabe thug, I was still polite when I got pulled over because I knew.
Yeah, I think that's just still one thing that's missing though. Like that respect for police officers is one thing that's kind of gone to the wayside a lot of times. So
it's gone. There is
people I talk to, so I wouldn't be a cop now. Like some people that are retired already, they're like, no, not anymore.
My brother, he retired about 5 years ago from a sheriff's office here in Northern California. And he's like, yeah, dude, I got out. Like, I mean, he did his 29 and a half years or whatever, and he's done. He's like, I wouldn't go do that job now. It sucks. Nobody cares. Everybody's just jerk offs. And there's just no respect in the world anymore right now. So that's a whole different topic. I thought we weren't getting political here.
Yeah, for automatics, I mean, like for me, I just don't like to reload like assisted automatic knives. I don't like reloading them. That's why I like closing it down and be done with it instead of click.
Yeah, I have one. I've got one of the Red Horse Knife Works Hellraisers that's an automatic.
Well, that's why double action OTS like Microtechs make a lot of sense if you want a knife with a button because they're dual action, so you can retract them.
Yep.
The other ones, the single action stuff, spring loaded, those are fun too. But that's the reason why I only have like 3 Protects, and actually one of them's a Malibu, so it's not automatic.
The G&G Deadlock is impressive though.
Those are really awesome. I can't say enough good stuff about them. Having had a couple in to review,
yes,
they're pretty awesome.
That is a really cool knife. And then like the other one I like they did too was the Mud back in the day. I wish they'd bring that back because that was a really cool knife. The like completely encapsulated pivot so you could dump it in the mud and whatever. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
There's just something about closing a knife that is as enjoyable as deploying the knife.
Absolutely.
And when you have to use your leg or your other hand to close an automatic knife, it's just not as satisfying. I think that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah, I came across an old Kershaw, like it's from '07. It has a sheath in it. I have it over there if you want to see it, but it's like you have a sheath and you grab it and you pull it out, and then it has a pin, so it actually extends it, so it's a longer fixed blade almost. And then you have to put it into the sheath and then close it down, which actually closes it down. So it's a really interesting design.
Don't you have one of those, Alex?
It's not a Kershaw. Mine's a it's an Elishewitz design.
Let me go and grab mine.
Yeah, go ahead and grab yours. Because I remember you sending me something at one point.
Yeah, it was a Black Hawk fixed blade that goes from like a 2 or 3 inch to like a 4.5 inch blade or something like that. I don't even know where I put it. Oh, that's the re-out stuff.
Yeah, so Kershaw, so 07, and then so when you pull it out, so it pulls out.
Oh, that's neat.
That's pretty cool.
That's beyond cool.
Yeah, so it has the little.
Oh, that's like a paratrooper style knife, right?
Yeah, so it has a tab for it, but so you just reinsert it. It goes back in there.
It's kind of like magic. You just,
Yeah,
so just dope.
So it's just one of those things like why like it probably came out at the wrong time. I mean, 07 is not the right time for it, but I mean, you figure, I mean, it retracts all the way down to when it's. I mean, that's much more blade you got on there.
Right.
That's pretty cool. That is very cool.
Really cool. I like that.
It almost has like a scarab looking handle too on it. It's really neat.
Yeah. So the only thing about it is like it rattles like crazy. So
yeah,
I would almost like to see this come back. Like, I don't know why. I mean, it's probably expensive at the time at 07, but I think this could do well.
I think that could do well today, and made with today's tolerances and stuff, it probably wouldn't rattle as much. Just be an improved version. Yeah, the only thing, like when I hand it to people to work with, the only thing I think it needs like a button or a release to drop the blade back down, then to reinsert it. Because then, like when I had people try and like work with this and actually put it back in, it gets a little scary when it's like, I'll just give it back. I'll put. Yeah, exactly. I get that way too. That's why try not to loan knives to people.
The one that I had has like a button in it, and when you pull the blade out, it's actually just stays short. And then but it's got a button where it's more of a gravity style knife. Yeah. And the blade pulls out, and it's like, I think that is the last switch one, I think. Yeah. The Black Hawk.
Yeah. Here you go. Stacy cool just says make your own. So that could be knife number 4.
Right.
In the Orion lineup.
Well, 4 is already accounted for, so that's going to be. So I have the Solaris, the Scorpio, the Cetus, then Perseus coming out. Okay. And then this is actually one that I'm thinking about, but I have to figure out how to get past all those things that I don't like about it. Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think there could be a market, if you will, for that knife in today's world. And it doesn't seem. I don't think it would be considered illegal because it's not an OTF. It is a fixed blade in a sense. Like I don't know, like if it would have legal issues with it. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's a good question. Else, but I mean, it doesn't deploy. There's no buttons. There's no springs. It's just your right. And that's what it is like the Switchblade Rule and law type of stuff talks about if because you can open it deployment with a button of deployment without touching the blade type of thing, and it's kind of really weird wording, but that might.
I'm sure you could still get screwed for that.
With anything.
He's not in California though, so he's got a better chance.
Well, but a lot of the California laws are moving up to Oregon, so it's kind of getting bad. We just had the gun thing happen.
The what was that? What 114 or whatever?
114, yeah.
I was up there in Eugene. My sister lives outside of Eugene.
Oh, there you go.
So what is that? I haven't been keeping up on the
basically the 10-round limitation. So any 10-round magazines considered illegal. Any guns that are 10 rounds, and then they have to have a permit that they have no idea how they're going to implement. They don't even have the programming to do the
That's the part that killed me is you have to have a permit to buy, but there is no way to get a permit. There's no process for that. That's the part that kills me.
Yeah, so it is
the same thing with the assault weapons ban here. They had no process before they released the law. That's just what they do.
Yeah, but like at least in California, right? There's a process to get a weapons permit.
Now,
you can't really get one. Nobody's ever going to get one necessarily. I mean, you can, depending on your county, of course, right? But there's a process. You may never get to the end of the process.
Yeah.
But with this 114 in Oregon, there was no it was impossible. There was no process.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like turned off the gun sales in general.
Yeah, gun sales just stopped on December 8th.
Yeah,
so you guys can't buy guns?
Well, they extend it, so it's being like held up.
Well,
by,
there was like a stay
Eastern Oregon federal judge or something that kind of put a little stop to it. But
how communist is that?
Yeah, dude, and my brother-in-law has his FFL in Oregon, so like he couldn't get it's
you have to send all the guns out of state, like anything that was anything that's over 10 round is like, okay, you have to ship that to another state somewhere else.
And bummer.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, we're not getting political here. But
10 rounds.
It's a crazy world we live in. And it's not just California. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's California. No, all that stuff is spread into Oregon. New York has crazy knife laws too. I mean, it's just there's a few states where it's easier,
New Jersey,
and it's more open, but it's not all this. I think there's more that are like have laws than have just open whatever knife laws, carry laws, whatever. But
right.
That having the ability to buy all that stuff is more of the minority than having rules.
Right.
Yeah. And really, some of the laws don't really affect it too much. I mean, Chicago with their gun laws, and it's like still got a lot of shootings and everything. So
well, exactly.
Yeah, the people that are honestly buying the guns aren't going to be the ones using it for those crimes. So criminals are continuing.
That was always my point. It's you're disarming the ones that follow the rules, not the ones that don't follow the rules.
The criminal is going into the bank to rob the bank. Doesn't matter what tools he's using to do that. He's still going to rob the bank. Or he's still
what I'm saying is he's not going to go into the bank saying like, oh, guns aren't allowed there, so
let me leave it in the car and I'll just rob you without it.
Right? Like he's not going to respect those laws, and neither is he when he's going to break into people's houses.
Right. I think in Europe they had like acid get thrown in your face. Like in Europe.
You're disarming the people who follow the rules.
Yep.
And if you trust that system, then you're kind of an idiot because that's what they want. They want disarmed citizens. It's much easier that way to acquire stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So, Idaho is one of the free states, if you will.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we've got an off topic there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool knives out there, though. I mean, there's the whole process and everything that's changed over time, and it just the quality, as Alex was saying, like $50, you can have something that would have probably been like $150 now at a $50 range, and it keeps on getting better and better. And that's where somewhere I have an issue with, like, it almost seems like a lot of companies are racing towards the bottom. It's like, well, let's get it as cheap as possible. And even when I compare my own products to things that are open, it's like I'm not gonna reach that price point.
Right.
Well,
no, I agree.
I think there's a balance to everything, right? Like you try to make a good product and you spend the money where it's needed. And I think that's where like it really matters. There is like things that are extras, but then like when you have a following already, that like that's not like what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like people getting started or trying to build like a little empire out of something. In the beginning, like you cut corners where you're supposed to, not like where you're not supposed to, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, so. It's just interesting the type of knives people carry. Like I think some of the worst ones are like a lot of people that have guns that have really bad knives. It's kind of like it's kind of like what they find important. So it's like they're willing to spend all these accessories, but the knife that they carry is like the Smith & Wesson or something.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just not their thing. Too. They're getting better nowadays, though. The or the gun community, they're stepping up to Spydercos and Benchmates.
I mean, oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. Like when I first started getting into knives, I mean, I've always kind of been into knives, but really got into collecting like 5, 6, 7-ish years ago, I'm like, I would never spend more than $500 on a knife. Are you nuts? That's ridiculous.
And where you are now,
Well, we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
But then, but there are gun guys who know better and say no because I'd rather buy a scope, and that's okay.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Then that's okay too.
It's, I mean, you find the value in it. So initially, when you get into it, it's just like, well, like I'd rather spend that money elsewhere. Like I'm not going to spend that much money on a knife. And then you kind of get into it and kind of know, okay, well, the different qualities and the different features that might raise it up. And that's where it just changes over time as far as what you're willing to spend your money on because you appreciate those type of things.
Right.
The knife instigator is on his lunch break, which is formerly known as Mike from Australia. That's the knife instigator.
Yes.
He changed his name, but it's still Mike from Australia.
What's up, Mike? He's on his lunch break. That's awesome. Like he's watching some knife stuff.
Told myself I would never spend more than $300 on a knife. Clearly, I failed. Yeah, mine was $500, and then I spent like $1,000. I think soon after that $500 limit, I went to California Custom Knife Show, and I bought one for $900, an Eric Kramer custom, and a Medford for another $950, I think it was. And then I was over. Like it just was done. Then money was kind of no object on knives after that. For whatever reason, that kind of tipped the scale, opened the floodgate, if you will. And now here I am. I don't even want to admit how much I've spent on a knife. So.
Yeah. Well, Medford has an OTF coming out too.
You know that he does.
I didn't know that.
And
I did not know that.
I'll be honest, I kind of want to check one out. So I'm going to have my buddy who's a Medford dealer. When he gets his order, he's going to send me one to check out because I want to see it. Yeah. There's two different models. There's one with Praetorian blade, and then one that's a double-edged.
Yeah, the dagger style, yeah.
And they're $600 or $650.
I think 600. Yeah, supposedly he said that they were going to be going down in price once he kind of gets all the tooling done and everything else. But $600. Yeah,
I do want to check one out for whatever that's worth.
I showed this one off to Dirk and Alex, but it's one of the ones. So I haven't got into fixed blades or customs, but this is the first custom fixed blade I picked up. And then this is, it's just, I found it to be just really pretty. And for the price point that he was offering it for, I couldn't pass it up. So would I use this in the field or anything else? No. Am I going to look at it and take it out and like all over it? Yeah, I will.
Yeah. The handle is what did it for me. I think it's beautiful.
Me too. I like the handle. I like the copper accents on the on both sides of the handle, and the dagger profile is extremely well done. It's nice and even.
Yeah, and he doesn't use jigs for it or anything else. I mean, leaf spring, but it was just cool. I mean, even like learning how he did this. I mean, he said that basically for this pattern, he basically has a jig on one side, so he basically locks the blade in one side, and then has a kind of like a gear jig, and he puts rubber bands on it, and then he twists it. So that's gets that twist pattern. And he just marks it.
That's really cool.
So it's a really cool setup for that, and that's like a Johnston Customs.
And where's he out of?
Well, he's in. I think he's in Oregon. Yeah, he must be in Oregon because I was in Eugene for that knife show, and then there's another one coming out, knife show in April. Sorry.
And where is that one?
In Eugene as well. So it's at the little fairgrounds area.
Might have to come.
Very, very, very nice.
It's a pretty quick flight into Eugene, so.
Yeah, so it's like a 300 something tables for down in Eugene.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk. Maybe I'll come up for that in April.
Nice.
All right, what do we got here? Some comments here. Nick says he's been close to getting a Medford, just haven't pulled the trigger. Hard to allocate money to that over like an area. It's totally different style. It is a totally different style. It's totally different. I don't know. The Arius is kind of funny because I think it's a great knife that I've owned, but I didn't want to keep it. I kind of want one, but I don't want it after I get it. So,
yeah, because TJ is the one that designed the Arius, right? Or TJ Schwartz. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, so I've sold mine, and I've honestly sold all my Medfords, but that's a different story.
Yeah,
like do you know that
TJ's one that I actually like. I think he's a designer that I think I like the most. He's probably my favorite designer.
Yeah, he comes up with like themes along with cool designs too, you know. That knife that I sent you, Dirk, with the Timascus lock side, that little millet with the Damasteel, that's the same guy who designed the Arius, who designed that one.
Yeah.
So
Mike asks, hey, have I pushed you over the 50% towards pulling the trigger? Yes, Mike. I think I'm at 90% right now, but of a new purchase. So
oh yeah. What are you buying? What's he buying, Mike?
I'll tell you what I was carrying today was the
what he's buying.
Maybe the Tim Galen junkyard dog.
Yeah, that is super cool.
Because is that the actual junkyard dog that Kershaw had a long time ago?
This is a full custom.
Because I have the version. Because I have the junkyard dog with the little the airplane pattern.
Airplane stuff. Yes, those were the Kershaw ones that Tim designed for Kershaw.
So that is a rare bird right there. I will say that.
Yeah, and
he doesn't make knives very often anymore.
No, he does not, and this is crazy. And the action
pocket clip on that one, look, is it the same style as the Kershaw? Because the Kershaw one was humongous for that pocket clip. Oh no, that's a good pocket clip.
That's drop shut on phosphor bronze washers.
Oh, nice.
That's even beautiful sculpting on the clip. It's kind of scalloped in the middle.
I like actually that little divot too. That probably makes it come out of the pocket really well. It's like a little grip point.
But it's a little tight in the pocket for me. I wished it was a little bit loose. Like it's never going to fall out because it takes a little work to pull it out. But
well, in all honesty, I think that knife is amazing because that knife is not just a random knife. It's got a purpose behind it. It was designed after sports cars, and you can tell that by the way they use the carbon fiber and the pinstripe.
The carbon fiber on here, I'm not going to be able to show it here, but I'm going to do a full video. I did an unboxing video that's out already. I haven't done the full video. So it's carbon fiber, G10, G10 and carbon fiber. And then it's clear coated with automotive 2K clear. Nice. And then cut and polished and wet sanded in like an 11-stage process. So it's like you would see in a McLaren or a Bugatti or something. Like it's the inlays are automotive grade.
Yeah. That looks really nice. The only the polish on it would be the concern I have when you're holding it, if it's too slippery and everything else. That's why I like the fat carbon, just the way it looks and feels.
Agreed. Yeah, it is. It's smooth for sure. You cannot feel the seams between any of the materials, but it's not gonna fall out of your hand type of slick.
Oh, I don't care if it's slippery. I want it shiny like that.
It's just awesome.
I like that. Looks rad. It looks like it's been polished. Nice.
Nick says he loved Skelton's video on that. Was it that hit? Yeah, this is the one of one. This is the only eagle that was in. So this is the one that Jim sent me the other day. This came from Jim, and it may never go back anywhere. I may just be sending some money around somewhere instead. I have that ability. It's not one of the knives that I say I'm just not going to send back. I have an offer. I have a price. It's likely going to do it.
Nice. And that's impressive to just have those one of ones. And it's just great work to be able to see what they put into it and how they did it.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. And I've got some amazing, customs already, and this is in the same level. It's just really well done.
Right.
The Kershaw one, that the clip on the Kershaw was probably. I didn't like that clip. So if he designed the clip, I'm sorry, but that clip was really bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's kind of gone through. He makes his own knives. He worked for Kershaw and designed a bunch of their different knives.
Oh, nice.
And then he just stopped making knives for a long time. And then he'd make one or two, and then he'd stop for years. The word on the street is that he's got some medical things now, so that he's not making knives again. Will he make some again in the future? We don't know.
Talented maker and designer, though.
Yeah, very talented maker and designer. So they'll, we'll watch Jim's video, and then I'll do a video, and mine will not be as in depth and not be 45 minutes like Jim's was, I don't think. But
I think that's where like especially for Dirk, for your storytelling. I told you this, but the Vin Wiki type of thing, you got to get on there, especially with your car racing thing, and then you can have your little story time on that type of show.
Yeah, you keep mentioning. I got to look into that a little bit more. Maybe in 2023. I just started a new job too, so I'm kind of like don't want to do too many new things until I settle into my new job and stuff like that. It's in the same career, same field, just doing it for a different company, basically the same thing. So it's
still get to stay home then, still have your home office.
I still get to stay home. This is still my desk and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of the same, just a different paycheck. It's a check from somebody else to do basically similar stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Oh, well, here we go. Like Steve Wallace says, is it okay that I ask you guys to think about the Hanson pre-order from CDC, which is the crispy donut community? $10 for 100 knives is going to charity to send kids to camp. So they came out with their own Hanson knife. It's a donut theme knife, actually. And the crispy donut community was founded by a law enforcement dude and a correctional officer dude. So it's kind of fun. And I have a couple of coins from them, and I've worked with them a little bit. So it's a cool community. They're on Facebook and all that good stuff. And there's a website. I think it's crispydonutcommunity.com. I'm not sure. But yeah, go check it out. They're doing a pre-order on their Hanson knife. There's also one that's not. Donuts. There's one that's not a donut knife also. There's like a blue G10 one and a black G10 one. So if you're not into the donut thing, it's okay. They have a knife that's for you guys as well.
Yeah, I like to tease about the donut theme stuff.
Here we go.
Oh, is that it right there? Let's take a look. Oh, that's cool. Actually, the blue with a little bit of pink is kind of like okay. I don't mind that. No, I'm not doing it. No,
you can do it, man. It's only $60.
I'm
mostly
get
blue. It's
blue.
There you go.
The blue one. Yeah, the
mostly blue with a couple of pink sprinkles.
Yeah, that's that is a good looking knife, though.
I'll be honest, I haven't done my pre-order, and I think they have a set where you could just buy all three of them, and is that right? There's a discount. It's there was a discount. I don't remember what it is. It's not $60 each. It's like $150 for all three of them or something like that. So there's a little bit of a discount if I remember.
So the total price is 60, or is it going to be?
I think that's it. The total price is $60. And then if you buy the bundle with all three of them, I think it's like $150 or something. There's a little bit of a break. They're cool guys. There's a cool Facebook group and all of that stuff associated with them. They do a bunch of donut patches and coins and all this goofy stuff. That's fun.
It is fun. I like watching you guys do it from a distance.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the donut thing might be a little overhyped at this point, and I did not jump in and get the Civivi Elementum. I did not get the Microtech from Blade HQ. I did not get the coin. I did not get the patch. I did not get the ProTech one. I stopped with the Desert Warrior, the Boker automatic ones.
Well, it's surprising what Simpsons can do to a community, because that's pretty much like the Simpson donut. It's like whatever you think of.
Right. That's what I thought of too, because that's my era, the Simpsons.
Yep. Wait a second. Kurt's not making knives anymore?
No, he's no longer taking orders. He's probably just overbooked, man.
Yeah,
like he'll reopen again. As a matter of fact, I was surprised he was taking orders for as long as he did, because he blew up pretty fast. But yeah, I wouldn't fret about that. He'll get back on there. You gotta be patient when it comes to like the collecting game, because there's some knives I waited like 3 or 4 years to acquire one, searching, waiting patiently for the right price and the right knife, and And that's
It's a
okay.
long
You
game.
got nothing but time, bro. Just
'cause I
wait
think-
for the right thing.
I think the only one that I had for a grill was like the Sabenza 21, and I got that a while ago. But it was just kind of like at that point in my time, I mean, going from $40 to $400 something was kind of like,
that's a big
The
jump.
Sabenza was the first like premium knife I bought myself, and I remember when I first got it, I'm like, oh, it's a Sabenza. Wow, I've joined the club. You know,
And
like,
so the question is, do you still have it?
I
still
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still do have it. I don't use it as much as other knives, so I really need to take it out there and actually use it, because at least when I found it, it didn't seem to be properly sharpened when I got it. So I don't know if it was it wasn't as sharp as like I would expect like a knife to come out of the box.
You know, in talking with Tom and Gerald that we've had on the show before, Tom Hossein and Gerald,
Outpost 76.
Outpost 76. Factory edges on knives generally are not the sharpest the knife can be. So they said, like, really, it takes like the third sharpening, I think they said.
Yeah, they say like
actually sharp.
They say a lot of like knife makers, which I get it. Like I've heard this concept a couple of times where like they're sharpening the edges on blades that have already been like cured and they've already been like
heat treated and
everything. So what happens is then you're like introducing so much heat, trying to like burn through grinding so many of these knives that you start to take the temper out of the edge.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's gone that way, because then I remember before it used to be like, okay, well, that doesn't make a difference. Then it kind of went, oh wait, actually it does make a difference. And then when they cut testing and everything else, and it seems like the market changes a little bit on. I guess the knowledge base is kind of expanded a lot. From like, well, this is what I got you, and this is what it is. The best it's going to be. It's like, well, not really, and you can do this and that, and a lot of different changes.
Absolutely, it's a Cultratech Urs. I have to say it with the accent, you know. It's URS is how it's spelled. I don't think they make these anymore, but they're pretty cool. This is my favorite Cultratech model they've made, and they were, they're cool. They only made 200 of these or less because they got kind of questioned by Spyderco knives because this is like a modified compression lock. So they had an agreement of only making a max of 200 or less.
But the thing is, the compression lock's open source now. Like, just don't call it a compression lock.
That's what Cultratech told me of the reason why they're not going to make many more.
Because that's my question, is like, why, unless it's that hard to manufacture, why there aren't more compression locks? Because it's the patent is well and done, just like the axis lock, but the axis lock, everybody has an axis lock, but nobody has a compression lock. Oh, I guess except for that knife.
No, that's a good point.
There's a few out there that have it. This one's kind of interesting to me. I didn't even know why Spyderco would say that, because they did, like, you know, Russians being Russians, they took a picture of this knife completely like split apart into pieces. And then they put an AK-47 completely broken down next to it to show you that there's more moving parts in this than in the gun.
Wow.
Which was pretty damn cool, you know, but that's the Russians, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to look at too, is like, why is it so difficult? Like, what is so difficult on that compression lock? Because I guess I have my pair 3 for a compression lock, but I don't have too many in my collection. But it seems like it's still a good lock, and why
I think it's complicated on purpose, just to be complicated for fun. But remember, like, if this wasn't a general compression lock, I could push this down. This button right here would allow me to compress the lock, and the knife would go. But they put a safety on it so that it doesn't do that. So you actually have to slide this up, and then it goes inside the scale for the knife to actually, you know, close. If you just push it down, it doesn't. So that's pretty cool, because I'm not going to lie, like, this knife is extremely sharp. Like, even if you if you even barely scrape your skin on this, it's coming off, like slicing it off. So like, I appreciate a little bit of that safety. I actually kind of wish the detent was slightly stiffer, but it's on washers, so it doesn't ever like really come out that easy or anything like that. Which is
what's a Japanese knife maker that has like the fully polished blades? The name escapes me right now.
Rockstead.
Rockstead, yes.
Yeah, I have one of those here. Those are fun. Actually, that's a good point. That is exactly like what this knife feels like to me in a sense, because it's on the washers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Rockstead's kind of like another example, you know, like they're machine-made custom knives. It's kind of like something I wanted to get into when I did my medium-sized knives save lives video about the kind of like machine versus handmade customs and what's acceptable in each one.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a Rockstead, but they're so precisely made, and this is actually considered a production knife.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like $1,500 production knives,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So then people are like, well, wait a minute, like, do I want to spend $1,500 on a production knife? Well, who cares what it is? It's look at it. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's not really production because a lot of this stuff is hand done, like all the polishing and everything. I mean, the gold versus like the standard silver transition and the anodizing. I mean, all this stuff is a lot of handwork.
Yeah, I guess still a point of discussion, but I mean,
yeah,
that's like 65 HRC, I think, right? No, it's like up there.
Yeah,
it's up there, I think. Yeah,
it is pretty up there. I don't remember exactly which one, but it is up there. That's one of their things. They do high HRC and they do convex edges,
and they test every blade.
They do.
They HRC every blade.
Yeah, I
think it's
can't
cool,
remember where the little dimple is. Mine has a dimple on it too. Oh yeah, it actually has it right over here. It's kind of hard to see, but
yeah,
there's a tiny little dimple under the right light where you can see they actually punched it out to test the hardness. So that's kind of cool. And like that's like this knife really represent true Japanese culture at its finest because it's all about the details and the pride behind the work.
Yep.
And like when you handle a knife like this, you just really feel that exactly, you know, just every little surface is like micro polished, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's something that like the Japanese market, like they used to be known for a lot of their high quality knives, and they're not around. Like I think a lot of their folks that maybe went into that field like don't go into that field anymore. A lot of probably the electronic side came in them out. I mean, you know, I know there's like probably the restaurant business or other things that are more prevalent. But yeah, it's just not really there anymore for that. Because I've seen another one that's supposedly made in Japan, and like I did not like that knife. It was just like the build quality was horrible on it. There at one of the blade shows, but it was just like this is not a good knife.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, you can have crappy makers anywhere, you know, but it's true. There are some nice ones. There's some not so nice ones. There's expensive productions. There's cheap customs. You know, like you really just have to focus on what you like and stick to it. Don't worry about the stigmatas behind what it is or whatnot. You know,
right? Agreed.
Yeah, but I'd just like to find like good ones there because like even when I was doing the OEM side, like initially I started US side to try and get a US OEM, which was impossible at the time when I was starting out. And then like even looking at other countries, it's like, oh, well, who else has stuff? And like, okay, well, Japan, like who's available in Japan? Is like nobody. Like who are you gonna send to Japan to?
Right.
So it's like that was kind of an interesting process when I was starting out, is just even starting out to see who's available to make it for the product.
Right. The watch.
So Mike asks Alex, how's the watch build coming along? When do we expect part 4?
So guys, I had a viewer that pointed something out to me when I did my last video, and yeah, that's always the fun part. So when I put the Timascus dial on, I forgot that the crown was supposed to be at the 3.8 o'clock position, but I put it at the 3 o'clock position because it's automatically where most of my watches are, and my mind was going. So the Willard is not going to be a Willard right now. But I'm not going to let you down, Mike, because actually, like we were talking about this earlier, I bought some parts to go with.
EDC for fun says it's complicated. That's a good one.
It's complicated been the short answer, but you know, let's make it entertaining so you guys can see what I'm going to do next. So part 4 is coming soon. But we did get a new case, a new crown, so that we can do the 3 o'clock positioning with the Timascus. And I got this pilot's watch kind of set up from Namiko Mods, the same people who did the Willard case for me. So yes, Alex screwed up his Willie. But we're going to build a pilot's watch instead, guys. And then we will get another movement and finish the Willie, okay? The Willie will get finished. We got some other scraps too. Yeah, it'll get done. So that will be a thing.
Yeah, that's a nice thing about a lot of the hobbies. Is like you have a lot of customization you can do. I mean, knife side watches. I mean, the people get into cars. So every single hobby you have, I mean, you have customization.
Now I could have just spent like $100 and got a new dial, but I mean, nah. Let's just have
projects change. Like it just changes, it evolves, and it becomes whatever it's supposed to be at the end of the process.
Yeah. So my mess up is going to cause me to have 2 cool custom Seikos. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mike says we saw it here first. Alex messed up his Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could have my Willie.
That will live on for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's all right.
Alex's Willie is off. Yeah, it's off by a whole. Yeah, it's at 3 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. Oh boy! I think on that note, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I love it, man. Keep it coming.
No, thanks everybody. We really appreciate you guys chiming in with your comments and stuff. I think it was a pretty active show. And
I knew this was going to be a fun episode with Mr. Banter here because, I mean, watches, knives, he's one of us. That's for sure.
For sure. So it's always fun to have a guest on and stuff too. And Dave was great. So thank you for coming on. Thank you all for watching. In the description is a link to all of our channels because the Blade Banter has its own channel as well. And I don't think I put the Orion website in there, but I will update it and put the Orion knives link in the description also. Stacy just put it in the comments. But yeah, go check us all out. Make sure you're subscribed to everybody here and be back. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another fun, exciting show. Any last minute comments, Alex or Dave?
I'm good. I got to go check on my Willie.
Perfect. Dave, stay on. And everybody else, we will talk to you next time. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.